future. But in the meantime, a deadline passed last week for health and care staff to have their first COVID vaccine. The decision to mandate vaccination for these workers was highly contentious, raising legal and HR issues for employers across the sector. And there's a judicial review of the move under consideration. It's thought as many as 22,000 care home workers could refuse the vaccine. So how should employers act, and just how much of an HR minefield is the issue? Well, joining me now is the CEO of BrightHR, Alan Price. Alan, good to see you this morning. How do you think this is going to play out?
I think the healthcare sector is already suffering in terms of a labour shortage, and with the HR minefield and complexity of vaccination, both in the healthcare and the health domiciliary care sector, it's going to be a big challenge.
But I mean, this potentially is going to spill over into other areas as well, for example, hospitality.
Well, first and foremost, we're looking at care homes, but there has been a recent government consultation to widen the mandate across the whole of frontline care services, both in the NHS and also in domiciliary care. And whilst it could go into hospitality, the challenge for those in that sector is there's already a labour shortage, and the HR minefield for business owners and for those in frontline NHS in dealing with both the people challenge and also the paperwork that arises from being able to support staff through this process.
I'm taking away the impression from you that there's not a lot that employers can necessarily do about this.
Well, I think employers are trying to educate the workforce in terms of the requirements to get the COVID jab. And if we look at the new consultation, which goes wider in terms of all frontline NHS workers and also those in domiciliary care, there's also a requirement for the flu jab. Now, a lot of UK employers already advise the staff to get the flu jab. A lot of UK employers are already talking to staff about the vaccination process. But given as we head into winter, it's a real HR minefield for both small and large employers.
And it's not the only one. I mean, working from home obviously took off during the pandemic. Are you still seeing a lot of issues around that? Employers trying to get colleagues to get back into the office?
I think we're seeing challenges about employers talking about the workplace in terms of where that is, at home or in the office. But again, the government this week has produced even more consultation documents for business owners in terms of flexible working and making that a requirement or a possibility from day one. So if I was an employer, both in the care sector, looking at labour shortages, looking at the vaccination process, looking at home working and flexible working, where does a business owner turn to in terms of all the changes in the legislation that appear to be coming through in the next coming months?
Another potential issue, I guess, right now is that a lot of people in key worker industries in particular will have banked up a lot of holiday that they weren't able to take during the pandemic. What are the rules around that?
We've seen a 60% increase in annual leave requests. BrightHR has unique access to over 400,000 employees who use our services in terms of absence leave. And with the changes to foreign travel, we've seen a big increase in annual leave requests. But a lot of employees haven't been managing, Ian, that collation of annual leave, and it's coming towards the end of the calendar year. And a lot of employers are finding it hard to deal with that. They can refuse to leave and they can look at an alternative date, but we don't have long left in the year to allow employees to take that annual leave.
What are the kind of rules around the amount of leave that a worker can carry over from one year to the next?
Well, ordinarily, statutory annual leave can't be carried over unless you've had an absence due to pregnancy, for example, and therefore you're not able to take that leave. Obviously, a lot of employers will pay on top of the statutory annual leave entitlements, and that's contractual. You can carry that over. I think from our perspective, employees need to be reasonable and look at what impact annual leave is going to have this year. Can they agree to carry it over for next year? But again, that type of advice isn't readily available. We're seeing a massive increase in the telephone calls we're receiving, both from small and medium-sized employers. We've actually launched a free digital HR tool to try and deal with some of those queries for small business owners, because there's only so many calls any business can take. And whilst we're able to grow and adapt to that demand, a lot of business owners are facing unprecedented challenges, both in terms of annual leave, labour shortages, and obviously dealing with vaccination mandates.
All right, Alan Price, good to talk to you this morning. Thank you.
Thank you.